Our guest today is Julie Mulligan, and Julie is the marketing manager for the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization. Julie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you have a most interesting job. What a fun occupation that must be.
It is, yes. I'm very lucky to be considered to have a very fun job. I'm with Ontario's Highlands Tourism Organization, which is a regional tourism organization in the province of Ontario. So we come up with a lot of fun ideas. We get to be creative, really to inspire visitation and tourism within the region, which it's one of the biggest in Ontario, which covers Haliburton County, the Ottawa Valley or Renfrew County, Lanark County, and the northern parts of Frontenac County, Lennox and Addington, and Hastings County. So it's a large geographical area.
So I would imagine that you're never at a loss for something to do.
No, never at a loss. That's lucky, but there's just so much great things that are happening in our region that it's always fun to be talking about them as well.
That's wonderful. Now, this summer, you launched a program called the Connections Campaign. Tell us what that campaign is all about.
Yeah, for sure. How we came about the Connections Campaign is really, we were inspired during the time of COVID and the lockdown and listening to everybody and listening to people's stories. And we were really inspired with how people within our region were really coming together during a very hard time. People were helping each other, supporting businesses. And so we wanted to kind of take that and really develop the story of our region, or kind of the brand of our region, through the people who live here and what their stories are. Ultimately hoping that people will see themselves in these stories and really connect with the region. So each person's story has a special connection to a part of our region that is known, what we're known for. So whether it's water, whether it's music, whether it's the land, we're really hoping people see themselves within these connections to the region.
Well, it's a great series, and each of the segments in this Connections campaign has a number of elements that showcase that particular story. Maybe you could tell people when they go to our Connections website, what can they expect to find?
Sure. One of the main parts of the campaign, or what the storytelling, is this docu-series we have, which is called the Connection Series. So this is a 7-part series, and each one will focus the story of a person who lives here and what their special connection is to the region. Usually around that connection to the region is also anchored by an activity that we're known for. So whenever you go to the website, you'll not only see the purpose of the campaign, which is really to discover the people who live here and what their stories are, but to also highlight the really unique and interesting things that people can do here, hoping to also really encourage local travel as well. We know everybody's on this rebound of businesses starting back up. Everybody has a huge desire to support local. So through this campaign, we're all really hoping that people to consider travel local first.
Well, it certainly seems that that's the case, Julie. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were talking about booking accommodation down the road, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And they said, it's amazing how fast the accommodation is filling up. So it's obvious that there's a pent-up demand out there.
There's definitely a pent-up demand. People are looking to get away. And what's good about our region also is that they're looking to get away into these rural areas where they can feel safe. They can feel socially distanced, but they still feel like they're getting away into the nature and kind of getting it away from it all. So there is a pent-up demand, and what's the benefit about traveling local too is that you can still have all these experiences, go out and all these do great things while staying close to home.
Now, your first episode in the Connection series was connected to water, and it features someone who's well known throughout Ontario, I would say, Steffi Van Wyck, and
Yes.
of course she's with Madawaska Canoe Center. That was a wonderful episode. Must have been a bit of a challenge getting all that great photography.
I would like to say it's a challenge, but it's really lucky that we've linked up to a really great videographer who has loads of experience in this kind of documentary style of photography and has all the appropriate equipment. So it was more enjoyable for me to watch him working, trying to get all this footage and bringing it together into that great feature as well.
And Steffi's story is a really fascinating one in that it goes back a long way.
Yes, it is a fascinating story because she has a long lineage of paddling champions in her family, and a really big connection in her family to the Ottawa River. I believe it was her mother and her grandfather was one of the first people who kayaked down the Ottawa River. So she definitely has a history with her family. And what her story was really all about, which was interesting, is because she has this big history with paddling, competitive paddling in her family, she didn't feel a connection right away to paddling, especially the competitive side of it. So the whole story was really around how she came out of this environment and then really did find her connection to the water and to paddling in the Madawaska in the region through teaching at the Madawaska Canoe Center. So she's taken her love for paddling, passing it on to others who want to get immersed in that environment as well.
I was quite astounded in watching the story that at the outset, Steffi admits she was afraid of the water.
Yes. Yeah, she thought that she was actually afraid of the white water specifically because she did think that it was scary. But I think what was nice about how she positioned her story is that there's really two sides of your connection to water and to paddling. There is this adrenaline side that people see whitewater kayaking specifically about, as well as this kind of calm canoeing on an open lake, bringing out the kind of zen in yourself side of paddling also that connects with her as well.
Your second episode features two characters that are so well known throughout the Haliburton Highlands, Nick Russell and Benton Brown. And they're a very popular duo throughout the community. And of course, that segment is called Connected to Music, which makes sense. And I'm wondering, how did their story come to your attention?
Well, it actually came into our attention through social media, actually. They became engaging with us on, I believe it started on Instagram. They started tagging us on their posts on Instagram, especially around the bonfire sessions. And that kind of caught our eye because it was such a unique product that they're offering people in terms of having these bonfire concerts or musical sessions right at someone's own dock or at their cottage. And so that kind of feeling of a bonfire session is totally the type of experience that we're trying to promote.
Now, the two fellows are both really good communicators. That's another way of saying they can really talk.
Yeah.
And that must have helped the segment as well.
Yes, we had the absolute joy of spending 2 days with Nick and Benton developing that feature. And in terms of being great communicators or amazing storytellers, and you could see that within their bonfire sessions as well. They say that this is like a storytelling or immersive experience. And just in terms of like listening to them talk about their connection with each other, how they came about as a musical duo, their connection to Haliburton, you can tell that they're really, really feel blessed to be able to call Haliburton their home.
A real fun shoot for everybody involved.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was definitely fun. I felt really privileged to be able to sit in one of the bonfire sessions. It was a beautiful, beautiful night. So to be able to sit at the lake on Boshkung Lake and hear their music. And I know at one point Benton got a text message from someone across the lake saying like, music's sounding great tonight. So that is just, I think that just is a really great feeling of how everybody comes around this culture in Haliburton.
It does indeed. It does indeed.
Yeah.
Now you have another Connections program coming up in September.
Yes.
What can people expect in this next story?
Well, the next story is about Amber Hine, and it's her connection to land. And Amber is a member of the Pikwanagan First Nation here in Renfrew County. And what her story really is about is she grew up within practicing some Indigenous culture and kind of lost that as she was growing older. And then she's really had this moment in her life where she felt the need to reconnect with her Indigenous culture through the connection to land. And she's taken that connection and is using it to teach communities about the lost art of high tanning. So really trying to bring in that connection to land and bring out these kind of lost arts related to the Indigenous culture.
That's wonderful. Something to look forward to in September.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, all of these connection programs are available on your website, ourconnections.ca. And I'm wondering, are there other media that people can find out about the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization story? Are there other resources?
Yeah, definitely. You can always check out our Facebook page, which is ON Highlands at ON Highlands, or our Instagram page is ON Highlands as well. In terms of Ontario's Highlands and other products, then our website is comewander.ca.
Well, Julie, this is a wonderful series, and our congratulations to you, not only on the stories that you've selected, but the quality of the video segments and the stories that accompany them. Some wonderful still photography as well. It's a great campaign, and I'm sure that everybody in the region is going to feel the impact, the positive impact of that with our possible guests in the future.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us today, Julie. Wonderful to chat with you.
Okay, thank you.
Our guest today has been Julie Mulligan, and Julie is the marketing manager of the Ontario Highlands Tourism Organization. And just a reminder that if you want to see the Nick and Benton edition, go to ourconnections.ca.